So this woman scammed $400 million. Oh my God. Now the woman's name is Gina, and Gina, she's about 47 when the story starts, living in California, and she is a successful business owner in San Diego. She does a lot of work in real estate development. Not only that, people in her community love her. Here she is on the cover of a local magazine. Here she is on another magazine cover. Here she is getting interviewed on a podcast. She even ran for mayor of San Diego at one point. In fact, she's made so many contributions to her community that the city council names June 28th Gina Champion Cane Day. So she literally has her own day named after her in San Diego. That's how much people like this woman. Well, all that's about to change. Because one day in 2011, she decides to expand her business portfolio and she buys a restaurant. But when she starts the process of buying this restaurant, she runs into a little problem. She has to get her liquor license, and she quickly finds out that the state of California has some pretty strict laws about liquor licenses. A lot of red tape, it costs money, etc. But whatever, Gina goes through the process and she gets the proper one for her restaurant. And afterwards, she feels like this process sucks so bad that it actually gives her an idea to get rich. What if she starts a business that could give loans to other bars and restaurants that they can then use to get their liquor licenses? It's not a terrible idea. Seems legit enough. So she starts this liquor license loan business. Then she goes to her wealthy friends and family and business people and anyone who wants to invest in her idea, and she explains to them how difficult and tedious and expensive it is for a bar or restaurant to get a liquor license, and that her company can help by loaning these places the money to do it. And she'll charge high interest on these loans, and they're all gonna make so much money. And these investors love this idea, and they start investing in it. And suddenly, Gina's little idea now has millions of dollars in funding. Here's the problem, though. Getting a liquor license for a bar or restaurant in California, it's not as hard as Gina is making it out to be. So she has essentially created a business to solve a problem that doesn't really exist. And because this problem doesn't really exist, she's not really loaning out any money to any bars or restaurants because there's no demand for these loans. So then what is she doing with all these millions of dollars that people have invested in her company? Well, she's taking a whole bunch of it for herself. She now owns a bunch of restaurants and she's buying homes and turning them into rental properties. She opens a couple of small clothing stores. She buys herself stuff like nice cars and hundreds of thousands of dollars in jewelry and box seats to professional baseball games and football games. She buys herself a $22,000 golf cart for some reason. She even allocates $2 million a year as a salary for herself. Damn, Gina, what do you need all $2 million a year for? Meanwhile, her liquor license loan business is growing. And so her businesses grow from a couple of employees to hundreds of employees. And Gina spends a lot of time making all this look legit. Like she'll forge documents and signatures. She'll tell investors and clients that she's working with bars and restaurants that she's not actually working with. She'll create fake email addresses and respond to clients giving her company a good recommendation like, oh yeah, Gina and her company, they're great. And I guess everyone believes her because investors just keep on investing money into this. And this goes on for years. And at this point, in total, Gina's business has raised around $400 million from hundreds of investors. $400 million! Oh, but that's not even the worst part. So Gina's liquor license loan business is doing really, really well. But you know what's not doing so well? Her other businesses. The restaurants, the clothing stores, and that kind of stuff. They're all hemorrhaging money. But see, Gina, she's able to keep them afloat by taking the money out of the liquor license loan investment fund and using it for the other businesses. In fact, she takes about $60 million from this fund and puts it into those other businesses. Not only that, but just like any investment business, eventually some of those investors, they're going to want their money back. They want a return on their investment. So Gina starts paying off old investors with new investors' money, which suddenly makes this whole thing one big Ponzi scheme. Oh boy. Regardless, Gina keeps going. There is no stopping her. But then, one day, around 2019, a private equity firm wants to invest in Gina's liquor license loan business. And they don't want to invest just a little money. They want to invest $100 million into it. That's a lot of money. So before they do that, they want to get an expert opinion about the whole thing. So the private equity firm hires this expert consultant to come and look over the deal and some of the documents for this huge investment. So he's there in their office looking over this deal and some other documents about Gina's business, and he's like, well, this doesn't seem right. And he gets suspicious. And so he literally calls every liquor license lawyer and consultant in the state of California to ask if they are currently using Gina's liquor license loan business, and they all, of course, say no. Then he goes through some financial documents for the last 6 months, and he still can't find anyone who was using her services. But somehow her liquor license loan business is making millions of dollars. So now this guy knows something is very wrong here. And he lets his clients at the private equity firm know. And they all conclude that Gina is running one big Ponzi scheme. From what they can tell, the 7-ish years that she's been running this liquor license loan business, she hasn't made a single loan to any bar or restaurant. Instead, she's just been taking investors' money and putting it into an account that she controls exclusively. In fact, what Gina is doing, she's actually running the largest woman-run Ponzi scheme in United States history. So at this point, at least one of these guys reports Gina to the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. And that same year, 2019, the Justice Department comes out and publicly accuses her of running this massive Ponzi scheme, and they file a civil lawsuit against her. And Gina, yeah, she knows she's fucked. I mean, there's no way out of this. Then it gets even worse for her, because Gina soon finds out that the FBI is now looking into what she's doing. And this is more than just a lawsuit. She could go to prison for this. So of course, she freaks out, and she orders her employees to start shredding tons and tons of documents and to delete emails. She tells employees in the accounting department to alter accounting records to make it look like she didn't use investor funds to buy shit for herself. So she's destroying records and just generally trying to hide or get rid of evidence, which is super illegal. But here's what's really crazy. Even after she finds out that the government is investigating her Ponzi scheme, she still tries to get more money from investors. Like, she just can't stop herself. Well, unfortunately for her, it doesn't work. And eventually, bam, she's arrested. And I don't have a mugshot, but here is a picture of her in court. And so, ultimately, she takes a plea deal and she gets sentenced to 15 years in prison.